And we're back. Man, you know what's like hard? YouTube. Like, really hard. When I first started, I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna go easy. I'm gonna put out one video a week. And it worked! For 2 weeks. And now it's been like a month. So, back at it. I am serious about this. I do want to be pumping out more videos faster, so I'm going to be really dedicating a lot more resources to it. Let's get started. Should I try that whole thing again?
I think that was pretty good.
Think it was pretty good?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. One of the questions I get asked the most is, what drone should I buy? And that's kind of like asking what camera should I buy, because whenever somebody asks me that, I have dozens of follow-up questions that I ask them to really hone down on what their specific needs are. And there's a lot of questions that need to be answered on what specific drone will suit your purposes the best. So the best thing that I can do is answer what drone out of the current lineup is my favorite. What do I like about all the drones? What do I dislike about all the drones? And hopefully from that you can extract what drone is going to best serve you in the specific purposes and needs that you have. Because honestly, the things that matter to me about a drone may not be the things that matter to you about a drone. So let's get started. So now we have the contenders. We're going to start with the Mavic 2 Pro. Huge sensor, 1-inch sensor, 31-minute flight time, can shoot in D-Log. It's a beast. We have the Mavic Air 2 with its 48 megapixel camera. Also really good for video. Shoots in D-Cine-alike. Amazing flight time. And then we have the Mini 2. I mean, this thing is just, for what it is, it's amazing. 4K, 30 frames per second, great camera. And then, out of nowhere, DJI launches the FPV drone. And I'm gonna go into this one a little bit later because it's actually more impressive than I thought it was gonna be, but it's not necessarily the drone that I want for myself. So you'll notice one thing I didn't go over in any of the bullet points, any of the cool, you like those little trackers that like follow the stuff? Yeah, that only took like 3 days to do. Every single time I start doing videography, I miss photography. I mean, it's a fun journey and it's fun to learn, but boy, videography is a different beast. And also, who thought that it was gonna be a really good idea to put 3 reflective pictures right behind when you're gonna have a massive light? Like I can keep my head here. There we go. Yep, can't see it. Oh, glaring light. Can't see it. Glaring light. Also notice there are the things that I didn't mention. I didn't mention anything about range. In Canada, we have to fly visual line of sight. So I love, you know, the OcuSync 2, 10-kilometer range. I need 1 kilometer with really good signal. So if the next drone comes out and they say it's got 30-kilometer range, that I hope that means it has better signal within 1 kilometer, because that's really, for the most part, all I'm doing. The other thing I didn't mention at all was sensors. Sensors are pretty much the first thing I disable on all the drones. I don't use them at all. I know if I'm close to a tree. I'm a responsible drone pilot. If I'm close to a tree, it's because I put the drone close to the tree and I know that I'm there and I want to fly through it. I don't need the sensors all over the place letting me know where I am. I know where I am. Now, that's not saying that I never go too close to a tree, but I feel like that would happen whether I had the sensors on or not. They say there's 2 types of drone pilots, those that have crashed and those that have not crashed yet. The 3 primary things that I look for in a drone are battery life. Like I said before, battery anxiety kills creativity. So I want something with good battery life. The second thing that's most important to me is stability, both in signal, bad weather, and flight. So I want a strong signal with a good video feed. I want it to be stable in bad weather. And I also, when I'm controlling it, and this is gonna sound weird, but I'll go over this later, when I ask it to go forward in a straight line, I want it to just go forward in a straight line. I don't want to be wondering about what it's going to be doing, and I also don't want to be fighting it. So here's a comparison that I did of all 3 of their video modes on an overcast, windy, snowy day. And as you can see, there is a bit of a difference in the video feeds, but it's actually nowhere near as dramatic as I expected it to be. Okay, so let's go from biggest to smallest and start with the Mavic 2. Things I like about it: really good battery life, about 31 minutes. It's the only drone where you have adjustable aperture. I like it because when you're in flight, you can use it as like an in-flight ND filter. So if you're flying around and the sun clears through the clouds, you don't have to land the drone, adjust the ND filter, and then launch it back up. To a point, you can adjust the aperture to keep the same shutter speed. For me personally, I like flying with the smart controller, and this works with the smart controller, so I like that. The flight is rock solid. When I tell it to go forward, like everything that I ask it to do, it does exactly what I want it to. There's no surprises, there's no drifting or anything like that. It's just rock solid flight, and I really appreciate that. Hasselblad lens, 1-inch sensor. I mean, and that's kind of awesome. The OcuSync 2 is, again, really strong signal. Even if I'm flying around trees in sort of sketchy areas, it's always a strong signal. I love the fact that in video it shoots D-Log 10-bit, so it gives you a lot of artistic creativity. It's like shooting RAW in photography. And then I like the fact that it shoots RAW in photography. A couple things that I don't like about it is the ascension and descension is rather slow, but then when I started flying with the Air 2, which that thing just drops like a rock, it's amazing if you're doing just photography and you're super high and you want to get another shot, because I like to do what I call manual zoom, just go closer, don't necessarily rely on digital zoom. So if I'm super high up and I want to get down lower, with this one I just kind of feel like it's waiting until you can take the shot. Whereas with the Air 2, it just feels like it's a lot quicker. Okay, so next, let's talk about the Air 2. First thing I absolutely love about this is the battery life. They say that it's 34 minutes over the 2's 31 minutes, but in real life experience, I feel like it's a lot longer than that. I feel like the battery life is long enough that it lets me actually get lost in the flight. I start forgetting that battery life is even a thing, and I really, really appreciate that. Amazing poor weather performance. So I've flown this drone in -20 degrees Celsius and 30km/h winds. For you Americans, that's -4 Fahrenheit and 18.5 miles. Can you guys just get with it already? Like, just join the rest of the world and use numbers that make sense. Really sketchy conditions, and it is performed admirably every single time. It shoots 4K, 60 frames per second in decent alike, so gotta love that. Well, it only goes 68 kilometers an hour as opposed to the 2's 72 kilometers an hour. Given the benefit of the size and the weight, that's the sacrifice that I'm personally willing to make. I love the 48 megapixel sensor. Now, I know technically it's taking 4 photos and mixing them together, but I really appreciate that because if I'm shooting horses or I'm shooting some sort of animal, I can be further away, take the picture, and then know that I can zoom in quite drastically in post without losing any image quality. So I really, really appreciate that. Again, the OcuSync 2, I think they say 8km range. All I need is one really solid and stable. And it works with a smart controller, so same with the 2. And this one is a big one for me, aircraft detection. Again, I fly a line of sight and I know where my aircraft is at all time. But just like with photography, sometimes you can get tunnel vision. You're shooting something and you're looking at the screen and you're really focusing on that. And so having that warning on the screen letting you know that there's another aircraft in the area a lot of times before I can even see or hear it, gives me a good warning to get down, land, let them go by, even shows you on the screen where they are in relation to you. It's fantastic. And it's just an extra layer of safety, which when flying a remotely piloted aircraft system, as many layers as you can have, they're all welcome. Now let's talk about the Mini 2. This thing completely took me by surprise by how capable and durable it is, but with how capable it is. It's tiny, it fits in your pocket, it weighs next to nothing. It can still do 4K 30 frames per second, which is amazing. The picture quality in normal light is almost undistinguishable from any of the other drones. I kind of like the fact that it has no sensors. There's nothing to beep at me, nothing to mock me. I know where it is. Yeah, it's a little bit harder to see because it's small, but I know where it is. You don't have to beep at me. I can see my drone. It's sort of my sacrificial drone. When I'm out, it's like, whoa, this is really bad weather. Like I don't know if I want to risk one of my other drones. I'll launch this one instead, and it always gets good footage, and it always comes back. Not going to go into too much detail with this one, but let's just say it's very durable. It's surprisingly durable. A couple things I don't like about it. Technically, as per the specs, it's supposed to have the same battery life, but I find in real world experience, the battery doesn't last nearly as long as the other two. The other thing, and again, this is nitpicky, but if you want to shoot RAW, you have to shoot JPEG and RAW. So there's no just RAW setting. So then when you're downloading the footage, you have a JPEG and RAW, JPEG and RAW, JPEG and RAW, and then it's an extra setting having to go in and sort it. Luckily, when I use my NAR box and I downloaded everything down to the NAR box, it creates a folder for JPEGs, a folder for RAWs, and a folder for video. And I can just select the JPEG folder, delete it, and then continue working. So I really appreciate that. But I just wish that there was a setting where you can be like, just take a RAW. I don't care about the JPEG. Again, nitpicky, but have to find something to complain about. I would say my biggest complaint with the Mini 2 is that sometimes it doesn't fly as true as the other ones. Sometimes when I'm just trying to fly in a straight line, it drifts off to the left for no reason, no explanation. Like you think everything's going fine, you've got good communication, everything's fantastic, and then on a random Thursday afternoon, you get a phone call and it says that it's just not working for it, and you can't even be friends, and then it's gone forever. Sorry. Sometimes I drift. Like the Mini 2. I don't know why it does that. It's a perfectly capable drone, but sometimes it just drifts off to the left, and if you're trying to go through a narrow set of trees, randomly drifting to the left, not great. Now let's touch quickly on the DJI FPV drone. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because being primarily a drone photographer, and DJI even mentions that this is not a photography drone. It doesn't even shoot RAW. It's something that I carry as a backup for when I'm doing any type of video. The difference between this is that the ascension and descension rate on this is insane. And the amount of power behind this doesn't have as good battery life. The footage is not as stable as the other drones, but it's a lot more stable than I was expecting it to be. And you can just create some dynamic video with this that I wasn't expecting. I was impressed with the video capabilities of this. And so it's definitely a drone that I always have in the background, but it's not necessarily ever going to be my primary drone. Now you might be wondering, have I gone full acro mode on this? I did once. It was quick and abrupt and did not end well, like my first Tinder date. All that being said, given the capabilities of all these 4 drones, given what I am looking for in a drone, and what matters to me in a drone's capability, functionality, battery life, stability, all those factors rolled into one, I have to say that the Air 2 is, for me, the clear winner. Again, what I look for, the capabilities and functionality in a drone that I look for may not necessarily be what's important to you, but I hope with this video just telling the capabilities, the pros and the cons between the different drones, it can maybe help you understand what drone would be best for you overall. Now, before I go, some of you may have noticed that there's been a slight bump in subscribers on this channel. That may have something to do with my friend Peter McKinnon giving me a very unexpected but incredibly appreciated shout out. He also mentioned, again unexpectedly, that he is giving me this Canon 800 RF lens to give away. And I am going to be giving this away to one of you, not in this video. The next video that I put out will be the lens giveaway video. Don't worry, it's not going to take a month for that video to come out. It's going to be out next week. I appreciate all you new viewers. I hope that you appreciate the content that I've got up so far. I know it's not a lot, but stay tuned. Lots more videos coming soon. I'm loving this. I'm refining the process. I'm figuring out what works for me, what doesn't work for me, and I'm hoping to start pumping these out a lot quicker. So, again, hope you liked the video. Hope it was helpful. Any questions, comments, complaints, or concerns, put them in the comments down below, and I will see you in the next video.